Zara's thumb hovered over the send button, the blue light of her phone illuminating her wine-flushed face in the darkness of her sole apartment. 3 glasses deep. Memories of last night with Marcus still burning through her body. She typed the words that would change everything. Baby, I can still feel you. Inside me. Your hands on my throat. The way you made me scream your name when you. She hit send with a satisfied smile, tossed the phone onto her nightstand, and let sleep pull her under. Her phone buzzed once. Then twice. Then didn't stop. She didn't hear any of it. The morning sun stabbed through her curtains like an accusation. Zara reached for her phone, squinting at the screen. 53 missed calls. 97 text messages. All from an unknown number. Her wine-addled brain struggled to make sense of it. She scrolled through the messages, her blood turning colder with each one. Who is this? How did you get my number? Are you in danger? Tell me where you are. Then the tone shifted, became something darker, more possessive. I don't know who you meant to send that to, but it's mine now. You're mine now. And I'm going to find out exactly what you meant by every single word. Zara's hands started shaking. She checked her sent messages and her stomach dropped through the floor. The text had gone to a number she thought she'd deleted 6 months ago. Her ex's number. The one Marcus had made her remove from her phone when they got serious, the one she'd kept hidden in her contacts under a fake name just in case. But whoever was responding wasn't her ex. With trembling fingers, she called the number. A man answered on the first ring, his voice like dark velvet wrapped around steel. Good morning, Zara Williams. 26 years old. Data analyst at Data Tech Solutions in Gangnam. Lives at apartment 402, Seongsadong. Before you panic, yes, I know all of this. The real question is, do you know who I am? Who the hell are you? Her voice came out smaller than she intended. My name is Kong Jae-won. And you, beautiful Zara, just sent me the most explicit message I've ever received. A message clearly meant for someone else. But here's what you need to understand. I don't give back what comes to me. Especially not something this interesting. We need to talk about what you owe me for this disruption to my morning. I don't owe you anything. It was a mistake. Mistakes have consequences. I'll be downstairs in 5 minutes. You can come down and we'll talk like civilized people, or I can come up and we'll have a very different conversation. Your choice, Zara. 5 minutes. The line went dead. Zara's fingers flew across her phone screen, typing Kong Jae-won's soul into the search bar. The results made her wish she'd stayed drunk. CEO of Biko Enterprises. Alleged head of the Biko crime syndicate. Photos of him at charity galas in perfectly tailored suits. Always alone. Always intimidating. Articles about gang violence. Investigations that went nowhere. Witnesses who disappeared. 40 people dead in a gang war 2 years ago. Kong Jae-won questioned but never charged. She'd sent an explicit sext to a Mafia boss. Her phone rang again. She answered it, her voice barely a whisper. I see you've done your research, he said. Good. Then you understand that ignoring me would be unwise. I'm outside your building. The black Mercedes. I can see your window from here, Zara. I know you're looking down at me right now. She hadn't been, but she moved to the window now. 4 stories below, a black Mercedes gleamed in the morning sun. A tall man in an expensive charcoal suit leaned against it, phone to his ear, face tilted up toward her building. Even from this distance, even through the glass, she could see his smile. 5 minutes became for while you were stalling. Come down, Zara. Don't make me come up. She threw on jeans and a sweater, some pathetic armor against what was waiting for her. Her hands shook as she locked her apartment door. The elevator ride down felt like a descent into hell. He was even more devastating in person. 34, maybe 35, with the kind of face that belonged in a museum. Sharp jawline with a thin scar running along it, dark eyes that seemed to see through every defense she'd ever built, perfectly styled black hair, and a body that made his suit look like it had been designed specifically for him. He was beautiful in the way that predators are beautiful, dangerous, and magnetic. Get in the car, he said, opening the back door. I'm not getting in your car. I don't know you. His smile was sharp enough to cut. You know me intimately enough to describe how I feel inside you, but not well enough to share a car ride? Interesting logic, Zara. That text wasn't meant for you. It was a mistake. I'm sorry for the confusion, but... He stepped closer and she instinctively backed up until she hit the building wall. He didn't touch her, but his presence was overwhelming, surrounding her like heat from a fire. Do you know what I was doing when your message came through? I was in a negotiation with men who kill people for looking at them wrong. My phone, which never makes a sound during business, buzzed. I looked down and read your words. Every explicit, beautiful word. In front of everyone. His voice dropped lower, more intimate, and Zara felt it like a physical touch. I excused myself from a 50 million won deal because I couldn't stop thinking about what you wrote. About who would inspire such vivid descriptions. About what it would take to make you write those words about me. You cost me money, Zara. More importantly, you made me feel something other than boredom for the first time in years. So no, you don't get to apologize and walk away. Get in the car. Something in his tone made it clear this wasn't a request anymore. Zara got in the car. The drive through Seoul's morning traffic was silent except for the soft hum of the engine. Zara kept her eyes on the window, watching the city blur past, too afraid to look at the man sitting next to her. He didn't seem bothered by the silence. In fact, he seemed to be enjoying her discomfort. They pulled up to a high-rise in Gangnam, the kind of building where apartments cost more than most people made in a lifetime. A private elevator took them to the top floor, opening directly into a penthouse that took Zara's breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Han River. Minimalist furniture that probably cost more than her car. Abstract art on the walls that she recognized from magazine spreads about wealthy collectors. Drink. He moved to a bar area without waiting for her answer, pouring amber liquid into 2 crystal glasses. I don't drink with strangers who threaten me. I haven't threatened you. He held out one of the glasses. Yet. But I should clarify what's happening here so we understand each other. You disrupted my business. You cost me money and, more significantly, you cost me my focus. I haven't been able to stop thinking about your message. About you. That's unprecedented for me, and I don't like things I can't explain. He set both glasses down on the coffee table and pulled a document from his jacket pocket, unfolding it with deliberate care. It was a contract, professionally printed, with blanks filled in by hand. You're going to repay your debt to me. 10 dates. You give me 10 evenings over the next 30 days. Nothing illegal. Nothing without your consent. But you'll spend time with me. Let me understand who you are. Why your words affected me the way they did. At the end of 30 days, if you still want nothing to do with me, you walk away. No consequences. No threats. But you'll give me this time, Zara. You owe me that much. This is insane. I have a boyfriend. I have a life. You can't just. Can I? He slid a photograph across the table. Zara's world tilted sideways. The photo showed Marcus, her boyfriend of 2 years, sitting at a poker table. Chips stacked high in front of him, a drink in his hand, that stupid confident smile on his face that she'd once found charming. The timestamp on the photo was from 3 days ago. Marcus Young, Jae-won said, his voice almost gentle now. Your boyfriend. The man you thought you were texting last night. He's been visiting my casino twice a week for the past 6 months. He's very bad at poker, Zara. He owes my organization 200 million won. The number hit her like a physical blow. 200 million won. Almost $200,000. That's impossible. Marcus doesn't gamble. He told me he stopped. Men like Marcus never stop. They just get better at lying. Jae-won picked up his glass, swirling the whiskey. The number you texted last night? It was his. 6 months ago. Before he sold his old phone to pay off a fraction of his debt to me. The number was recycled, reassigned, given to me. The universe has a sense of humor, doesn't it? Zara's mind was racing, trying to process everything. Marcus had been lying to her. 4 months. Gambling away money they didn't have. And now she was sitting in a crime boss's penthouse because of a drunk text that had gone to the worst possible person. So this isn't about the text at all. This is about Marcus. About revenge. It started about Marcus, Jae-won admitted, leaning back in his chair. When I saw that his old number was attached to such an explicit message, I was curious. I looked into who'd send it. Found you. A beautiful, intelligent woman wasting herself on a man who lies to her face while drowning in debt he'll never repay. And then I read your words again, and I realized something. He leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. I could use you as leverage against Marcus. Force him to pay through you. That would be the smart business move. But I don't want to do that, Zara. I want something else. I want those 10 dates. I want to understand the woman who could write something that made me walk out of a meeting. And I want to show you what it's like to be with someone who actually sees you. This is blackmail. This is an opportunity. 10 dates with me, and I forgive Marcus's entire debt. 200 million won gone. You save the man you love by spending time with a man who fascinates you. It's simple mathematics. And if I refuse? Jae-won's smile didn't reach his eyes. Then Marcus will have to find another way to pay me back. My colleagues have creative methods for debt collection. I'd hate for you to see what they come up with. The threat hung in the air between them, unspoken but perfectly clear. Zara looked at the contract, at the pen sitting next to it, at the man who held her boyfriend's life in his hands. You swear that if I do this, Marcus goes free? No matter what? On my honor, which in my world is more binding than any contract. Sign it, Zara. Save your boyfriend. And let me show you what you've been missing. Her hand shook as she picked up the pen. This was insane. Dangerous. Possibly the worst decision she'd ever make. But what choice did she have? Marcus had gotten himself into this mess with his lies and his gambling, and now she had to get him out. She signed her name at the bottom of the contract. Jaewon's smile transformed his entire face, making him look younger, almost boyish. Almost safe. But Zara knew better now. There was nothing safe about Kang Jaewon. Excellent decision. Our first date is tonight. 7 p.m. I'll send a car and appropriate attire. Where would I send, Zara? You're about to enter a world you never knew existed. And appearance matters. Welcome to the next 30 days of your life. The dress arrived at 6 p.m. in a black box with a silver ribbon. Zara opened it with trembling hands to find a gown that probably cost more than 3 months of her salary. Midnight blue silk that shimmered like water, with a neckline that was low but elegant, and a slit that ran dangerously high up the thigh. Shoes that matched perfectly. Even jewelry. Delicate diamonds that caught the light like captured stars. Everything fit perfectly, like it had been made specifically for her body. Because it probably had been. Jaewon had somehow gotten her exact measurements without ever touching her. The car arrived precisely at 7. The same black Mercedes. But this time a driver in a crisp suit held the door open for her. She felt like she was being delivered to execution, dressed in the finest clothes she'd ever worn. The charity gala was being held at one of Seoul's most exclusive hotels. Zara had read about events like this in magazines, but never imagined she'd attend one. The ballroom glittered with chandeliers and wealth. Men in tuxedos, women in designer gowns, the kind of people who moved through life knowing they owned it. Jaewon was waiting at the entrance, and the sight of him made her breath catch. He wore a black tuxedo that fit him like sin, his hair perfectly styled, that scar on his jaw somehow making him more attractive rather than less. When he saw her, his expression shifted into something hungry and possessive that sent heat coursing through her body. Stunning, he said, offering his arm. I knew that dress would be perfect on you. How did you know my size? I'm very good at measuring things, Zara. Now smile. We're about to make an entrance. They walked into the ballroom together, and Zara felt every eye turn toward them. Whispers rippled through the crowd like wind through grass. She heard fragments of conversation as they passed. Is that Kang Jaewon? Who's the woman with him? He's never brought anyone to these events before. She must be someone important. Jaewon guided her through the crowd with a possessive hand on her lower back, introducing her to people whose names she recognized from news articles and business magazines. CEOs, politicians, celebrities. Everyone treated Jaewon with a mixture of respect and fear, and by extension, they treated her the same way. Why are you doing this? She whispered when they had a moment alone. The public display. You could have kept this arrangement secret. I don't do secrets, he replied, his hand sliding lower on her back in a way that made her hyper-aware of every point of contact between them. If you're going to be in my life, even temporarily, everyone needs to know you're under my protection. That you're untouchable. No one will hurt what belongs to me. I don't belong to you. His smile was sharp. Not yet. But you will. You know how I know? How? Because your pulse is racing right now. I can see it in your throat. Because you've been looking at my mouth for the past 30 seconds. Because when I touched you just now, you didn't pull away. You leaned in, Zara. You're already halfway to being mine, and we're only on date 1. Before she could respond, music filled the ballroom. Couples moved to the dance floor, and Jaewon pulled her along with them. His hand settled on her waist, hers on his shoulder, and suddenly they were moving together in a slow waltz that felt more intimate than any touch she'd ever experienced with Marcus. You're a good dancer, she said, desperate to fill the charged silence between them. I'm good at many things. You'll discover that over the next 29 days. His hand tightened on her waist, pulling her closer until their bodies were nearly flush. Tell me something, Zara. When you wrote that text last night, what were you remembering? What made you use those specific words? That's none of your business. Everything about you is my business now. You signed a contract. 10 dates. That includes conversations, Zara. I want to know what makes you tick. What makes you write words that haunted me all night? She shouldn't answer. Shouldn't give him anything real. But something about the way he looked at her, like she was the only person in the entire ballroom, made the truth spill out. Marcus and I had been together the night before. It was fine. Good, even. But it felt routine, like we were going through motions. I wanted to recapture something, make him see me the way he used to. So I got drunk and tried to write something that would make him want me again. And instead, you made me want you. His voice was rough, honest in a way that terrified her. Do you know what I thought when I read those words? I thought, this woman knows what she wants. This woman isn't afraid of her own desire. This woman could bring a man to his knees if she knew her own power. You don't know anything about me. I know more than you think. I know you've been with Marcus for 2 years and you're still trying to make him see you. I know you work 60-hour weeks and he barely notices. I know you're brilliant at your job, but you play it down because he feels threatened when you succeed. I know you've convinced yourself that safe and boring is the same as love. Zara stopped dancing, pulling back to stare at him. How could you possibly know any of that? Because I've been watching you since this morning. I had people pull your work records, your social media, your life. I wanted to understand who you are. And what I found was a woman who's been making herself smaller to fit into someone else's life. That ends now, Zara. For the next 30 days, I want to see the real you. The woman who writes explicit texts when she's wine-drunk and brave. The woman who signed a contract with a criminal to save her worthless boyfriend. That woman fascinates me. The song ended, but they stayed close, the air between them crackling with something dangerous and electric. Date 1 complete, J1 said, his thumb tracing a line along her jaw. 9 more to go. I wonder how long you'll last before you stop pretending you don't want this as much as I do. The car took her home at midnight, and Zara stumbled into her apartment feeling like she'd just survived something. Her phone had 7 missed calls from Marcus. She didn't call him back. Instead, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying not to think about how J1's hand had felt on her waist. How his eyes had burned into hers. How for the first time in years, she'd felt truly seen by someone. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number that she now recognized. Sleep well, Zara. Date 2 is tomorrow night. I'll pick you up at 8. Wear something comfortable. And stop thinking about me. I know you are. She threw her phone across the room and pulled a pillow over her face. This was going to be a very long 30 days. Date 2 was a private cooking class at a chef's kitchen in 81. Zara arrived to find J1 already there, wearing jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off his build in ways his suits only hinted at. He looked younger like this, more approachable, but no less dangerous. We're cooking? She asked. You are. I'm supervising. The chef will teach you to make Korean traditional dishes. I want to see how you handle taking instruction. This is a weird date. This is an opportunity for me to stand very close to you for 2 hours and watch you try not to notice me. Now put on the apron and let's begin. The chef, a kind older woman who clearly knew J1 well, walked Zara through making bulgogi and kimchi jjigae. It should have been a normal cooking lesson, but J1 made it impossible to focus. He stood behind her, ostensibly to watch what she was doing, but really just to invade her space with his presence. Your knife work is terrible, he murmured in her ear as she tried to julienne vegetables. I'm a data analyst, not a chef. Let me help. His hands covered hers on the knife, guiding her movements. His chest pressed against her back, his breath warm on her neck. Every point of contact between them felt like it was on fire. This is highly inappropriate, she managed to say. Is it? I'm just teaching you to cut vegetables. But his voice said he was doing something else entirely. When the food was finally done, they sat at a small table to eat. The chef had mysteriously disappeared, leaving them alone. So what's the point of this date? Zara asked, desperate to fill the silence with something other than the sound of her own heartbeat. Yesterday was public spectacle. Today is domestic intimacy. What are you trying to prove? I'm trying to show you different sides of my life. Yesterday was who I am to the world. Today is who I am in private moments. I want you to see all of me, Zara. So when you make your choice at the end of 30 days, it's an informed one. What choice? This is a deal. I do my 10 dates. You forgive Marcus's debt, and I walk away. Is that what you think will happen? He set down his chopsticks, his full attention on her now. You think you'll spend 30 days with me, and then just go back to your boring life with your boring boyfriend who doesn't see you? You think I'm going to let you walk away after I've shown you what you could have? I don't belong to you. Keep telling yourself that. Maybe by date 10 you'll even believe it. But we both know the truth, Zara. You felt it last night on that dance floor. You're feeling it now. There's something between us, something neither of us expected. And I'm not the kind of man who ignores opportunities when they present themselves. He stood, offering his hand. Come here. Why? Because I'm asking. Because you're curious. Because you want to see what happens next. She shouldn't take his hand. Shouldn't move closer. But her body betrayed her, standing and stepping toward him until only inches separated them. "What are you doing?" she whispered, testing a theory. His hand came up to her face, thumb tracing her lower lip. "I think you want me to kiss you right now. I think you've been thinking about it since last night. But I'm not going to. Not yet. When I kiss you, Zara, it's going to be because you asked me to. Because you admitted what you want. Until then, I'm just going to drive you slowly insane with wanting." He stepped back, and the loss of his proximity felt like cold water. Date 2 complete. 8 more to go. I'll see you tomorrow night. And Zara? Stop calling Marcus. He doesn't deserve your attention right now. How did you know I've been avoiding his calls? Jaewon's smile was answer enough. He knew everything about her life now. She'd signed away more than just her time when she'd agreed to this deal. She'd given him access to all of her, whether she'd meant to or not. Dates 3 through 5 blurred together in a haze of escalating tension and dangerous chemistry. Jaewon took her to an art gallery he'd rented for the night, just the two of them wandering through rooms of modern art while he explained why he collected pieces that most people found disturbing. He took her on a late-night motorcycle ride through Seoul's empty streets, her arms wrapped tight around his waist, adrenaline and terror mixing into something that felt addictively like freedom. He brought her to his private gym where she found him shirtless and devastating, covered in tattoos she hadn't known existed, and let her trace the ink on his skin until his breathing changed and he had to physically step away from her. With each date, the lines between the deal and something real grew more blurred. With each conversation, Zara found herself sharing things she'd never told anyone. And with each touch, whether accidental or deliberate, her body responded in ways that had nothing to do with obligation and everything to do with genuine desire. It was after date 5 that everything started to unravel. Zara came home to find Marcus waiting in her apartment. She'd given him a key months ago, back when that felt like trust instead of a violation of her space. "Where have you been?" he demanded. "You've been gone every night this week. You barely answer my calls. What's going on, Zara?" The irony of his questions made her want to laugh or scream or both. She was saving his life, spending time with a dangerous man to clear his gambling debts, and he had the audacity to interrogate her. "I've been working. Big project at the office." "Bullshit. I called your office. They said you've been leaving on time every day." He grabbed her wrist, not violently but possessively, and she realized something horrifying. When Jaewon touched her, every nerve ending came alive. When Marcus touched her, she felt absolutely nothing. "Let go of me. Not until you tell me what's really going on. Are you seeing someone else? Is that what this is?" Her phone buzzed. A text from Jaewon that Marcus could definitely see. "Date 6 tomorrow. Running out of patience." "I think you are too." Marcus's face went purple with rage. "Kong Jaewon? The Kong Jaewon is texting you? What the fuck, Zara?" She could tell him everything. Should tell him everything. How his gambling had brought this into their lives. How she was spending time with a criminal to save his worthless skin. How he lied to her for months while drowning them both in debt. But looking at him now, at his entitled anger, at his complete inability to see that she was sacrificing herself for him, she couldn't bring herself to give him that truth. "He's a client. Data analysis project. It's confidential. You're lying to me. You would know all about lying, wouldn't you, Marcus?" He blinked, confused. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just let go of my wrist and leave. I'm tired." After he left, Zara sat in her darkened apartment and cried. Not for Marcus, but for herself. For the realization that she'd wasted 2 years on a man who only loved her when it was convenient. Who only noticed her when she was slipping away. Her phone rang. Jaewon, like he had some sixth sense for when she was falling apart. "What's wrong?" he asked without preamble. "How do you know something's wrong?" "Because I can hear it in the way you're breathing. Because I've spent 5 dates learning every detail of you." "What happened, Zara?" "Marcus was here. He saw your text. He's suspicious. Do you want me to handle him?" "No. God, no. This is complicated enough without you interfering more than you already have." A pause. Then, softer, "Are you crying?" "No. Liar. I'm coming over. Don't you dare. That's not part of our deal. The deal was 10 dates. It didn't specify when or where. I'm calling this date 6. Be ready in 20 minutes. He hung up before she could argue. When Jaewon arrived, he took one look at her tear-stained face and pulled her into his arms without a word. She should push him away. Should maintain distance. Instead, she let herself collapse against his chest, breathing in his scent of expensive cologne and something uniquely him. "He doesn't deserve you," Jaewon murmured into her hair. "You know that, right?" You're saving his miserable life and he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't see how extraordinary you are. I'm not extraordinary. I'm just tired. You're extraordinary to me. He pulled back enough to look at her face, wiping tears away with his thumbs. Let me take you somewhere. Somewhere you can forget about him and deals and complications. Just for tonight. He drove her out of Seoul, into the countryside where city lights gave way to stars. His private estate was nestled in hills, a traditional Korean house mixed with modern architecture. It was beautiful and isolated, a place where the rest of the world couldn't reach them. This is where I come when I need to remember who I am underneath everything else, he said, leading her inside. No guards. No business. Just me. The house was warm and welcoming in ways his penthouse wasn't. Lived in. Real. He guided her to sit on cushions around a low table while he moved to the kitchen. I'm going to cook for you, he called out. Actual cooking, not a lesson. You're going to sit there and let someone take care of you for once. You don't have to do this. I know. I want to. There's a difference. She watched him work. This dangerous man who killed people and ran criminal operations, now carefully preparing food with the same focused intensity he brought to everything else. When he brought the dishes to the table, simple but perfect, she realized she was seeing something few people ever got to see. The real J1. Underneath the monster everyone feared. They ate in comfortable silence for a while before he spoke. Tell me about your family. Your real story, not the sanitized version you give strangers. So she did. She told him about her Nigerian father who'd left when she was 8, her Korean-American mother who'd worked herself to exhaustion to raise Zara alone. About growing up between cultures, never quite fitting in anywhere. About her mother's death 2 years ago, how it had left her feeling unmoored and desperate for stability. How Marcus had seemed like that stability until she realized he was just another man who would leave her carrying all the weight. Is that why you stay with him? J1 asked. Because you're afraid of being alone? Maybe. I don't know anymore. These past 5 days with you, I felt more alive than I have in 2 years with him. What does that say about me? It says you're finally waking up to what you deserve. He reached across the table, taking her hand. I told you on date 1 that I wanted to show you what you were missing. I think you're starting to see it now. This is just physical attraction. Chemistry. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't it? Then why are you here, Zara? Why did you let me come to your apartment? Why are you holding my hand right now instead of pulling away? She didn't have an answer. Or rather, she had an answer but was too afraid to say it out loud. J1 stood, pulling her up with him. They moved to the living area where floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over dark hills. He stood behind her, not quite touching but close enough that she could feel his heat. Tell me something, he said quietly. When you wrote that text, when you said, I can still feel you, what did you mean? What were you feeling? Connection. Intimacy. Being seen and wanted and necessary to someone. And do you feel that with Marcus? I thought I did. Once. And now. She turned to face him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd hijacked her life and somehow made her feel more herself than she'd felt in years. Now I don't know what I feel. You've turned everything upside down. I don't know what's real anymore. This deal, these dates, the way you look at me, I don't know if it's manipulation or genuine or something in between. It's genuine. His hand came up to her throat, not squeezing, just resting there, his thumb against her racing pulse. Every word I've said to you has been honest. I don't lie about what I want, Zara. And I want you. Not because of Marcus or deals or debts. I want you because you're brilliant and brave and so tired of pretending to be less than you are. I want you because when I read your words that morning, something in me recognized something in you. We're the same, you and I. We've both been playing roles for so long we forgot who we really are. You're a criminal. I'm just a data analyst. You're a woman who signed a contract with a criminal to save someone who doesn't appreciate her. That takes more courage than anything I've ever done. You're stronger than you know, Zara. You just need someone to show you. The air between them was charged, heavy with possibility and danger. Zara knew if she didn't step back now, something would shift between them that couldn't be undone. She didn't step back. 4 more dates. J1 whispered, his forehead almost touching hers. 4 more chances for you to keep lying to yourself. But I'm not going to make it easy on you anymore. No more gentlemen. No more patience. From now on, I'm going to show you exactly what you're missing. And when you finally admit you want this, when you finally ask me to kiss you, it's going to destroy you in the best possible way. He stepped back, and the loss of him felt like cold water. Stay here tonight. The guest room is upstairs. You're safe here, Zara. Safer than you've ever been. And tomorrow we continue. Date 7. Let's see how much longer you can hold out. She should leave. Should run back to Seoul and her normal life and the safety of pretending. But instead, she climbed the stairs to the guest room, crawled into bed, and lay awake all night thinking about the way his hand had felt on her throat. The way he looked at her like she was something precious and dangerous at the same time. 4 more dates. 4 more chances to keep lying to herself about what she wanted. She had a feeling she wouldn't make it that long. Date 7 shattered what remained of Zara's defenses. Jaewon took her to his club in Gangnam, the legitimate one where Seoul's elite came to pretend they were living dangerously. But there was a woman there, draped across the bar, beautiful and sophisticated in a way that made Zara feel suddenly inadequate. Jiun, she heard someone call her. And the way Jiun looked at Jaewon made it clear they had history. Old friend? Zara asked, hating the jealousy in her voice. Old mistake, Jaewon replied, his eyes never leaving Zara's face. Someone who wants a future I'm not interested in giving her. Jiun sauntered over, all curves and confidence, whispering something in Korean into Jaewon's ear that made him laugh. The sound made Zara's chest tight with something that felt uncomfortably like possessiveness. Then Jaewon did something unexpected. He grabbed Zara's hand and pulled her onto the dance floor, his arms sliding around her waist in a grip that was openly possessive. The music was sensual, all bass and rhythm, and their bodies moved together like they'd been doing this for years instead of days. Does it bother you? He murmured against her ear. Seeing another woman touch me? No, she lied. Liar. You're jealous. Good. That means you're starting to think of me as yours. His hand slid lower on her back, pressing her flush against him. You're mine for 3 more dates, Zara. Act like it. Show everyone in this room that you're not going anywhere. The song changed, became slower, more intimate. His thighs slipped between her legs as they turned, and the friction made her gasp. His smile turned predatory. That's what I thought, he said. You want this. You want everyone to know you're mine. So stop fighting it and let me show you what that feels like. He dipped her low, his face inches from hers, and the entire club seemed to hold its breath watching them. When he pulled her back up, his lips brushed her ear. 3 more dates. Then you run out of excuses. I can't wait. Date 8 brought violence crashing into their carefully constructed world. They were at dinner, a riverside restaurant with romantic lighting and quiet conversation, when gunfire erupted. Glass shattered. People screamed. Jaewon moved faster than thought, shoving Zara under the table and covering her body with his as bullets tore through the restaurant. His men returned fire. The attack lasted maybe 90 seconds, but felt like hours. When silence finally fell, Jaewon pulled Zara up, checking her for injuries with hands that shook just slightly. Are you hurt? Zara, look at me. Are you hurt? No. I'm fine. What the hell just happened? Rival gang. They've been looking for an opening. I'm sorry you had to see that. In his car, driving away from the chaos, Zara couldn't stop shaking. This is your world? People trying to kill you? This is what you want me to be part of? I never said it would be safe. I said it would be real. And yes, people want me dead. They have for years. But they will never touch you, Zara. I'd burn this entire city down before I let anyone hurt you. That's not romantic. That's terrifying. It's honest. He pulled the car over, turning to face her fully. If you choose me, really choose me, there's no going back. You'll be mine completely. Protected, worshipped, and possessed. But you need to understand what that means. I have enemies. I live in danger. And anyone I care about becomes a target. Is that what you want? She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. But she didn't pull away when he cupped her face, his thumb brushing her trembling lips. 2 more dates, he whispered. Make your choice, Zara. Safety with Marcus or truth with me. But make it knowing exactly what both options cost. The next day, Marcus ambushed her at work. He was waiting in the lobby of her building, disheveled and angry in a way she'd never seen before. We need to talk. Now. He dragged her to a coffee shop across the street, his grip on her arm too tight. People stared but didn't intervene. I know what's going on, he said once they were seated. You're sleeping with him. The gangster. You're fucking Kong Jae-won. Keep your voice down. Don't tell me to keep my voice down. You're my girlfriend, Zara. Mine. And you're whoring yourself out too. Jae-won appeared from nowhere, moving with deadly grace. One moment Marcus was mid-rant, the next he was slammed against the wall with Jae-won's hand around his throat. Finish that sentence, Jae-won said, his voice terrifyingly calm. I dare you. Call her that word one more time and see what happens. Get off me. Zara, tell him we're together. This was it. The moment of truth. Zara stood slowly, looking between the 2 men. Marcus, who'd lied to her for months, who'd buried them in debt, who just called her a whore for trying to save him. And J1, dangerous and possessive, and somehow more honest than anyone she'd ever known. Marcus, she said quietly, we're not together. We haven't really been together for a long time. I've been lying to myself about that. Because of him? Because of me. Because I finally realized I deserve more than someone who gambles away money we don't have and expects me to fix everything. Yes, I've been with J1. To pay off your debt. Your 200 million won debt that you never told me about. And somewhere along the way, I stopped doing it for you and started doing it for myself. Marcus's face contorted with rage and humiliation. You're choosing a criminal over me? Killer? I'm choosing myself for once. Finally, J1 released Marcus, who stumbled away, hurling insults that Zara didn't bother listening to. When they were alone in J1's car, she broke down completely. I can't do this. I can't be what you need. Your world is too dangerous, too complicated. I'm not strong enough. You're the strongest person I've ever met. J1 took her hands in his expression more vulnerable than she'd ever seen it. You faced a monster to save someone who didn't deserve it. You've survived 8 dates with me and made me feel human again. If that's not strength, I don't know what is. How can you be so sure about me? Because that text you sent? It wasn't just about sex. It was about intimacy, connection, being seen completely by someone. And I want to be that person for you, Zara. I want to be the one who sees all of you and wants every part. He reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone, showing her a screen full of documents, financial records, photos, evidence of crimes that made her stomach turn. Marcus didn't just gamble, J1 said quietly. He stole from my organization. Framed someone else for it. That man died because of Marcus's lies. I've known from the beginning what he really is. These 10 dates? They weren't about leverage or revenge. They were about giving you time to see the truth. About him. About yourself. About what you really want. Zara stared at the evidence, her world reorganizing itself around this new information. You've been orchestrating my awakening this whole time. I've been showing you what was already there. You just needed time to see it. He closed the phone, tucking it away. One more date, Zara. Tomorrow night. And then you decide. Walk away and go back to your safe, small life. Or stay and see what we could build together. That night, Zara couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about everything that had happened over the past 9 days. How J1 had looked at her like she mattered. How he'd protected her during the shooting. How he'd been honest about his world, his dangers, his desires. How different that was from Marcus, who'd hidden everything until it exploded. The next evening, date 10 arrived with a sense of inevitability. J1 picked her up himself, no driver, and took her back to where it all started, his penthouse overlooking the Han River. This is it, he said as they stood by those massive windows. The last date. After tonight, you're free. The deal is complete. Marcus's dad is forgiven. You can walk out that door and never see me again. Or you stay. Not because you have to. Because you want to. Because you're tired of running from what you feel. Zara turned to face him, tears already streaming down her face. That text I sent. The one that started all this. It was supposed to be about Marcus. But when I think about those words now, I can still feel you. I'm not thinking about him anymore. J1 stepped closer, his hands framing her face with devastating gentleness. Who are you thinking about? You. God help me, you. I think about your hands. Your voice. The way you look at me like I'm the only person who matters. I think about what it would feel like to really be yours. And it terrifies me because I've never wanted anything this badly. Then stop being terrified and take what you want. His forehead touched hers. I'm not a good man, Zara. I've done terrible things. But I'm honest about what I am. And what I am is completely, irrevocably yours. If you'll have me. She reached up, threading her fingers through his hair, and whispered the words that changed everything. Make that text come true. Show me what it feels like. Make me yours. His control shattered. He lifted her effortlessly, her legs wrapping around his waist as he carried her toward his bedroom. The door closed behind them, and for the first time in her life, Zara stopped running from what she wanted. Hours later, she woke in his arms, dawn light painting the city outside. There were marks on her throat from his possession, and she traced them in the mirror, smiling at the evidence of belonging to someone who actually saw her. No regrets? He asked, his voice rough with sleep. Terrified, but no regrets. Good. Because I'm never letting you go now. 6 months later, Zara walked through J1's headquarters like she owned it, because she did. She'd learned his business, earned respect from dangerous men, become exactly what he'd seen in her from the beginning. Strong, fearless, free. In his office, she locked the door behind her and straddled him in his chair. She pulled out her phone, showing him a new text. Baby, I can still feel you. From this morning. From last night. From every time you touch me. And I never want it to stop. She hit send. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Right number this time? He asked, hands sliding up her thighs. Always the right number. Always you. As they kissed, the camera pulled back through the window, showing Seoul at night, a city of lights and shadows, where a wrong text became the most right thing that ever happened. If this story destroyed you in the best way, smash that like button and drop a comment telling us what moment hit you hardest. Want to see what happens when Jaewon's enemies come for Zara? Comment part 2 and we'll make it happen. Subscribe for more AMBW stories that will wreck your heart and leave you begging for more. We post every week, and trust us, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button now. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right one.